All right, we have begun. My usual chat pop-out thing. There we go. Oh, it is the end of February 2025 on this live stream. Morning, Lord Nagel. Hey, Windolf. Hello, hello. I won't launch into the big news just yet. I'll wait for a couple more people to pop in. Hey, old Gabe. A few things to announce. Hey, Bubs. Hey, Comic Nut. Yeah, you caught the stream, finally. Hey, Crispy. Yes, thank you for subscribing and hitting the bell notification and therefore finding out that I've got a live stream this morning. Hey, Moondog. Hey, WF. Hey, James. Yes, I'm very caffeinated. I'm drinking coffee. And also a Monster Energy drink. They've got all these summer flavors out over here. And so I've been trying them all. Afternoon, Richard. Hey, Banger Shanks. So, we have entered a new era. The post-D&D era. Afternoon from the US, Richard? Yeah, it's morning. It's currently 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Beautiful sunny morning over here in New Zealand. It's midsummer, what we call high summer. So it's like the hottest that it gets over here. We'll hit I think we've hit 28, 29 degrees. I don't know if we've topped 30 degrees anywhere. That's Celsius, of course. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Volps. Yeah, it is the local Nothic. Finally on time. Great. I saw that Nothic conversation on the Discord server. Anybody who's not on my Discord server, there's a link in the description, doobly-doo down below. You'll also find a link in this live stream down below for Free League, who have just announced, and this is big news because it affects me directly, that they are producing a superheroes RPG based on the Invincible comic series and cartoon series, which is currently streaming, which I'm a big fan of. Now, this is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I love Free League. It's one of my favorite RPG producers, and I won't hear a bad word said against them. And on the other hand, shit, because I'm producing a superheroes RPG right now myself. I'm just finishing the editing and stuff on it. It's currently in layout before we announce the Kickstarter. So Free League's just pipped in. and yeah, the good thing is that because I'm doing the same sort of thing, there's like a piggyback marketing thing that I can take advantage of. It's like, oh, have you heard of Free League's doing their superheroes RPG? I'm doing one too. It's called Superatomic. And they are sufficiently different because they're doing a thematic one based on an established world setting. So they have to incorporate Viltrumites and stuff. Also, they're going to be using their role-playing system, I would say, or something very similar to it. Whereas my role-playing system is completely new. It's very, very different from traditional RPGs. It's very, very simplistic. It's much more freewheeling and narrative. Anybody who's watched any of the live plays of Superatomic so far or seen me talking about it will understand kind of what it is and how it's different from what Free League is producing. So Free League will probably be producing something similar to Claim the Sky from Monty Cook Games, for instance. I got no problem with cross-promoting anybody's product. I'm not in competition with any companies. I'm just saying that I wasn't expecting them to make a superheroes RPG. I'm kind of glad they are, but also at the same time, I don't want to be in competition with Free League. Yeah. Bit cheeky that, yeah. I know, right? So I'm definitely going to be signing up because I love Supers RPGs, and I'll definitely back Free League's Superheroes RPG. Absolutely. And I love Invincible. It's one of my favorite comic series and also one of my favorite online, cartoon series that's currently active. So, yeah. And it's very, very popular. And also, yeah, we've gotten sick of superheroes movies and things, but we've still got that. Like, we don't want to see superheroes from Marvel or DC very much anymore. I mean, kind of do. What we want to do, though, is we want to be our own superheroes. We still want to have that feeling of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff. And although that's kind of played out, we still want that superheroes feel, right? Because we live in very uncertain times. People don't like to feel powerless. And unable to affect change in the world. And superheroes RPGs is where you get to do that. You get to insert yourself as the most powerful person, the most influential and powerful person. So, yeah, Viltrumite stats. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to handle it. I'm very, very curious. I'd love to get in contact with Free League and have a little chat about what their plans are and stuff, and compare notes on superheroes RPGs, because I literally spent a year studying superheroes RPGs, all of them that I could get my hands on. I've read so many, at least 16 different Supers RPGs, and I've always been a huge fan of Heroes Unlimited from Palladium Books, which you'll see a lot of homage to in Superatomic, without stepping on their toes. But yeah. Hey, Deep Minds. Hey, Kairos. Hey, Sir William. Simplistic is very often good because it stimulates storytelling. The last couple of times I've played Chill Second Edited, we hardly rolled a single die. Exactly. Yeah. Because we're all like our new generation of gamers who've come into the hobby with 5th edition, Stranger Things, all that sort of stuff, COVID, lockdown, all stuff. They're now mature gamers. They're ready for other game systems and stuff. They're a little bit, D&D's a little bit played out for them, and they want to stretch their legs and expand. And we're now in an era of unprecedented competition with the main producers of the books that we haven't seen anything like since the 90s, where the RPG scene was much more diverse. People were playing Traveller and Call of Cthulhu and all these different games, Warhammer and Fantasy and Palladium and all these things, all these other sort of games that have been around for a while, and we're struggling because D&D was such a monolith. But we've killed the monolith. We've moved it. We've smashed it, and now from out of the shadows are sprouting all these wonderful new indie RPGs and companies and things. And I'm chipping in my bit by producing a free RPG for everybody. My plan is to get the PDF finished. So this is the complete basic game of Superatomic. Completely playable and everything, but there's a lot of expansions and things that I planned for it. And I thought, well, let's do a Kickstarter, give everybody the free version that backs it, and then essentially, if they like it, they can back more to get a print copy of it, and also expand the game and get a better version of it. So that's my plan. I just noticed that there was another Kickstarter where they did exactly it's Monty Cook Games on the Magnus Archives RPG Kickstarter. They're doing exactly the same method. So they give you a free version of the rules, and if you like it, then you back it and they will produce a print copy for you, which I think is a really good marketing scheme for Kickstarters in the first place. Kickstarter used to be a place where you could come and get a deal, and I think people need to shake their heads a little bit and wake up and realize that Kickstarter, you shouldn't be paying retail prices on a Kickstarter. When you're backing a Kickstarter, you have no guarantee that they're going to actually produce the product and give it to you. You have no legal recourse. So that's like me saying, okay, let's put it as a metaphor to make it a little bit more understandable for you as a consumer. I go to a factory where they make chickens, and I say, I'd like a chicken, please, direct from the manufacturer. And they say, that's $45. And I'm like, $45 for a chicken? And they're like, yeah, these are the best chickens in the world, sir. It's like, oh, wow. I was kind of hoping for a bargain, coming to the place where you're manufacturing the chickens, because I was trying to avoid retail prices. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, they're $45, sir. Okay, here's my $45. Okay, can I get the chicken? Maybe. What do you mean maybe? Well, we're working on a batch of chickens, so you can put down their $45 deposit on your chicken. And then, of course, you come along and 2 months later, you're like, can I have my chicken, please? Sorry, no. There's going to be no chickens. Oh, can I get a refund? No, you can't. That's how Kickstarter works, right? So I prefer to go back to the original sort of version where you get a bargain. So with my last battle mat, like Kickstarter, I gave people a pretty good bargain, and the pricing for the shipping was included, which a lot of people didn't believe. And I manufactured it and delivered it directly to people's door, and it was very successful. And I made a modest amount of money from it. I'm not looking to become a millionaire, but I'm definitely looking to make an RPG which has no barriers to entry, which allows anybody to play an RPG. All you need is the book to play, sort of thing, or the PDF. I just want people to play more RPGs or get into RPG gaming, outside of the channels of the main companies. Yeah, I'd like a chicken, please. 1 chicken, please. Your special power's got the rabies? Oh, the AJ cinematic universe would be one chaotic place, believe me. Hey, Lucas, I've been good. Hey, Fish, you've just joined, been binging your channel, love your Dragon Magazine short stories, man. You're a bloody legend. Thank you very much, Fish. I much appreciate that. Hey, James. Yeah, there's new D&D lore coming. On the official channels, I just heard from a little bird that we're going to be seeing some new material for Spelljammer Realm space. So the Forgotten Realms is going to be getting a third party, but official canon, if you ask me. Can't give him any details because I didn't discuss talking about this, but I'm okay. Eric L. Boyd, one of the godfathers of the Forgotten Realms, who he's like, I'm like Radagast and he's like Saruman. Oh, he's like Gandalf the White. He's like the head of my order, sort of thing. He's the sage of sages. He's like the top dog. So yeah, there's Eric L. Boyd and George Krashos and Jeff Grubb and Ed Greenwood. And as far as I'm concerned, anything that those guys write about the Forgotten Realms is canon. And anything Forgotten Realms that comes out from Wizard of the Coast lately, yeah, maybe. It's not kind of like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of retcons of D&D from this era. It's kind of like we've just, yeah, like all the changes they've just made are going to be about as permanent as the ones that 4th edition made. We're just going to sweep it under a rug a little bit, I think. But don't worry, Forgotten Realms material is still being written by people who actually give a shit about it. So, yeah, pay attention to those guys, those names, and look for them and follow them on Drive-Thru RPG and the DMs Guild. So, Eric L. Boyd is currently working on a rewrite or a reworking of the SR R2 module, which is Spelljammer Realm space. So the Forgotten Realms covered for all of the planets and everything in realm space, including the Beholder homeworld and that sort of stuff. So that's very exciting. He's also working on some other stuff after that as well. But as I've said to him and any of those other guys, if you've got stuff that you need to promote, let me know and I'll let everybody know for free forever. Because that's my job, is keeping the Forgotten Realms alive. Hail Tharizdun. Can we still get Kurt Russell to play the Sage? I would be delighted. Oh, if there was a movie of my life, yeah, Kurt Russell would be fantastic. He's such a cool guy. What do I think about the Netflix show D&D Forgotten Realms? I'll believe it when I see it. Do I have any favourite Forgotten Realms authors or novels? Yes, I've read pretty much all of R.A. Salvatore apart from his most recent stuff, but I've read his entire Companions of the Hall series. I would like to read... I think Elaine Cunningham is probably required reading for any D&D Forgotten Realms historian. And there's a lot of material that's coming out for the Moonshae Isles and that sort of thing. And of course, if you're at all interested in adventuring around the Sea of Fallen Stars, all of the novels by Ed Greenwood. Yeah, very important. Hey, thanks, ShatScan. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this is a monetized live stream. Any donations go directly towards my food bill. That's exactly where it'll be going next month. Kurt Russell does look good in a beard, yeah. Finally, the face behind the voice. Hello, S. Neil. Hey, Bubs. Has Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro done anything really else recently that's worth noting in terms of trying to ruin D&D? The most recent thing I've heard is the orc stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about them. Big Trouble in Little China, yes. Fantastic. I'd love that as an RPG too. Actually, you can do Big Trouble in Little China with Palladium books, Beyond the Supernatural, or Kids on Bikes. Any of those sort of low tier, like low power level supernatural investigation games handle Big Trouble in Little China quite well. Investigate the warehouse of Lo Pan, who's been involved in sex trafficking. That's basically the synopsis of that movie. Will I ever cosplay as the Sage, like for a con or for a video? Yeah, I'd be happy to. We look very, very similar. He's got slightly pointier ears. And he's got hairy feet, obviously. Bubs, to give you some idea of my attitude towards Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, I'm personally trying to avoid using D&D as a catchphrase to refer to all RPGs because we're no longer in that era. D&D is no longer cool. D&D should not be the word that we use as the default for role-playing game. We should just say RPGs. Because let's face it, I'd rather play Shadow Dark than 5th edition right now. I just would. I'd rather be making stuff for Shadow Dark and that sort of stuff. There's just not quite the market for it yet as a professional YouTuber. So yes, I love making videos about lore and stuff, but I kind of cringe having to look through all the RPG stuff for 5th edition. And I'd really, like, we had a podcast the other day where we were going to talk about the new monster manual, and I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have anything positive to say. It took me a couple of days of reflection and stuff to sort of wrap my head around. And the last video that I made about the changes between the Drallocytes and the plasmoids, that kind of pointed out where they're headed in terms of stripping away the lore to make it a generic product that they can market to anyone. Because the company is just interested in licensing now. They want to strip away. They are deliberately stripping away all the specific lore of D&D to make it as general and bland as possible because they just want it to be a game vehicle that they can sell any IP into. And if you look at what they've been doing with Magic the Gathering, which is now a car racing game in the latest edition, and also there are very, very broken card combinations that have been coming out. I'm absolutely convinced that they are no longer like paying attention to the card combos and they've just fed it all into an AI, and the AI can't handle it, and I've been building some very, very broken decks lately on Magic the Gathering Online. I play it for free. I don't give them any money. Don't worry. But yeah, I've got some really terrible, terrible combos, which are instant wins. Just instant wins. There's no defense against them. And that is just, it just screams to me that they are quality control. Human oversight has just gone out the window in that company. So yeah, they need to go. They need to go. Yeah, TTRPG is a much better term. Like, do you play RPGs? Like, everybody should know what you're talking about these days when you say RPGs. I mean, they may ask you if you're talking about a computer RPG or a tabletop RPG. Sure. But most people these days know what a TTRPG is. Yeah. At least people that we talk to in our hobbies and things. Maybe if you're talking to your grandparents, you'll need to describe it a little bit. What am I talking about? I am a grandparent. Well, I'm old enough to be one. Okay. Hey, Matt Nudie. Member for 24 months, Bronze Dragon. Thanks, man. Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade. Great game. I haven't read any Pathfinder novels. I've never really been into the Galarian setting. I've always wanted to read like novels set in Mystara, for instance. That'd be really interesting. Random warehouse scenes in Big Trouble, very random in filming in Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, I watched the commentary where Kurt Russell was talking about having to learn how to drive that truck. And that bit where they stopped the truck in the middle of the alleyway was literally because he couldn't turn. He was worried about driving into the set. Hey, thanks, Unintelligent Design. Good to see you're doing well, brother. Wizard of the Coast has been dumping books into stores, claiming sales when they're just shelf warmers. Hasbro is furious. Yeah, that's exactly what they've been doing. The reason why, by the way, they sell RPG books as boxed sets is because publishers have a return policy where they have to buy back the books that don't sell, but they don't have a policy for boxed sets of anything. That's why they sell RPGs in boxed sets, so they can avoid the returns of products that don't sell. Shitty. But there you go. I mean, it doesn't help that the starter sets are usually really good. Like the adventures in the starter sets have been some of the better standout ones. Yeah, I'm getting really sick and tired of like the AI narration and writing and stuff on like my Facebook feed and X and just YouTube videos that are narrated by AIs and obviously written by AIs. It's a testament to the blah, blah, blah and speaks to the blah. And in conclusion, it's like you can tell there are hallmarks of large language models and how they write because they're all based on the same thing. It's like it's not AI yet. It's just large language models. They're only telling you what they think you want to hear. So you never trust the facts. Never trust what an AI tells you at the moment. Always double check. Hey, Liam. Yeah, we need generic stats, but we also need specific lore. Like, give us an example of what you can make with those stats. It's pretty simple. I mean, you've wasted a bunch of pages in the monster manual giving us, like, niche monsters to fix your game balance, a la 4th edition, where we had entry-level hobgoblin and top-level hobgoblin, and never the twain shall meet. It's like, where did all the entry-level hobgoblins go when we hit level 15? Dunno. We've only got these hobgoblins now. Because their game balance is munted. Remember, game balance is a legacy of tabletop wargaming. It has no place in a narrative role-playing game. Particularly when you're dealing with super-powered magic users. And guys who can chop animals in half with a cleaving sword that do things that physics do not normally allow. Dungeons and Dragons is not based on reality. It's not a simulationist game anymore, and it's not a role play. It's not a war game. It's not a tabletop war game. Most of us play Theatre of the Mind, or a VTT, or something like that. Game balance is bullshit, and I can say that from playing RPGs for 40 years. Okay, game balance is bullshit. Yeah, well, that's the thing. There is no competition with D&D anymore because people just don't want to play D&D. They're looking for something else. Unless they're currently in it, like most people are currently in a campaign and have no desire to change editions and spend $300 on something which barely, like, it's not giving them anything new. It's just taking away what they enjoy. It's like, don't market your generic crap at our expense. Like, if you wanted to dumb down the game and sell it as a licensing medium, do that somewhere else. Don't do that in our hobby space. Hey, thanks to William. That's your message, interpretive dance. I love it. Oh yeah, Ed Greenwood just did a great video on the Fanes of Shah and Fanes in general. Fanes are a really, really good selling point for Forgotten Realms. Like, a lot of people say that Forgotten Realms is like overdone or bland or anything. It's really packed with really great role-playing inspiration that you can use for world building. And Fanes is a really good example. If a god of your campaign world interacts with that world, manifests physically and visits or manifests and talks to their followers, that god's very, very attention on that spot has a morphic effect on reality. And it draws, it pulls attention, it pulls the weave into that place and makes a locus. And that locus is a fane. It's a place charged with that god's specific energy. So Ed Greenwood, in his latest video, went through all these specific examples of Fanes of Shah in the Forgotten Realms. They're mostly concentrated around the Sea of Fallen Stars, which is where Ed Greenwood's main sort of creative and place is in the Forgotten Realms. That's where the Forgotten Realms kind of began. Whereas my expertise, you may notice, I stay away from that area in my personal lore explorations as a sage, and I'm more concentrating on the southern coasts, like the southern area of the Forgotten Realms. So recently I appeared as an NPC on stream, just as a guest, popped in on somebody's home game, which is great, as the sage character. And because they were at Candlekeep, and he just randomly messaged me and said, could you appear in my game as the sage? And I said, yeah, sure. You can do that. If you want me to appear in your game, I will pop into a stream with a game with you, for sure, as a guest NPC. You can message me and ask me to do that. I will. I'm not a famous person. I'm just a gamer. That's cool. Being an NPC that I created in your game, that's awesome. I find it fun. So that was the first time I actually did that, and they asked me about Mithranor, and I was just like, my character's never been to Mithranor. he really hates going through the Dales, for instance, because you need to go through some pretty nasty areas to get there. Like if you go from Candlekeep to Cormyr, there's many different ways that you can go, but you have to pass through some pretty dangerous areas to do so. The Dragon Reach, it's pretty cutthroat. I mean, you got to go through Westgate, for instance, and Westgate's like City of Thieves. Places like that. There's a swamp there too, which is pretty nasty. There's goblin-infested hills. Oh, I'd love to do a collab with Ed, but yeah, Ed's busy. Ed's doing great. He doesn't need my help at the moment, but I would love to do a collab or be in a conversation. Just meet with Ed and George and Eric and Jeff and those guys, and just say hello and thank you very much for basically providing me with a job. Yeah, that was a good video from Ed Greenwood. You should definitely check out his channel. See you, Carvel Snarky. Yes, Mr. Welch should definitely write some Mystara novels. If he can. A little more than just a gamer to many of us, AJ. Yeah, but I don't live that reality. Like, I just buy my groceries, make my YouTube videos, research the stuff, do my thing. It never really occurs to me that I'm talking to hundreds of people or, that thousands. Like, the numbers they're a blur to me. I always think that I'm just talking to one or two people. That's my attitude. It's just like, I'm talking to you personally. You're a group of people that are just hanging out with me in my chat. I don't think of the fact that like 3,000 people or 1,500 people will be watching the video. Those numbers mean nothing to me because I'm a Kiwi. Like, we're not used to big crowds and stuff. I barely even know anybody in this town. I've been here for 3 years. Yeah, Mr. Welch. I haven't seen a lot from Mr. Rex. Mr. Rex has been around. He's still making videos. Dungeon Dad's still making videos. Jordan, the PH Silent, he does mostly, he's been doing a lot of Dungeon Crawl Classics. Oh yeah, Goodman Games sent me Dungeon Crawl Classics, the RPG, and a bunch of trap books, which are fantastic. Thank you very much, Goodman Games. I'm currently reading through Dungeon Crawl Classics because it's I've always been very curious about that game. And it's a massive book. It's much bigger than I thought it was. And yeah, really well laid out. And I'm just looking through it. I can see why people really like it. So I'm going to give it a good read and play some games of it and maybe run some games for people online. I definitely plan on running more sort of pickup games on my Discord server this year. But at the moment, I'm concentrating on Superatomic. This, by the way, I just printed out Superatomic. Very small text. But what are the page numbers here? That is very small. Hang on a second. About 102 pages on here. So pretty lean, mean role-playing machine. And to give you some example, this here, little quarter page, is the game mechanics and rules, per se, of Superatomic. That, right there. That's it. One page in a book of 102. All the rest of it is resources and materials for making your character and running the game. That's it. So the game mechanics is one page. Fight Club Glantry. Yeah, live stream is just one conversation copied and pasted 100 times. Exactly. Corey, good example. Or good metaphor. Lorivore. We don't talk about the Mistara novels for a reason. Ooh. Hey, Theo. Let's see. What have I covered in the chat so far? Free League have just announced that they're going to be producing a Invincible RPG. Invincible, the cartoon comic series. And I'm like, damn, because I'm also producing a Supers RPG for Kickstarter. I'm not really in competition with Free League. Don't be ridiculous. But hopefully people really, really like what I've made. So far, all the testing and live game and gaming and stuff of it has been really, really enjoyable, and it's a perfectly workable RPG. So yeah, and we've made some tweaks and changes to it. We made the fail points optional, for instance. Like if you make a roll and you fail the roll, originally it was like you get a point, like an inspiration point that you can add onto another roll, or collaborate with another player character to add to their roll. But in practice, in playing the game, we often forgot to do that, and it turned out that it didn't really matter anyway. Yeah, so it's an optional rule now. Would I ever consider making a video explaining ways that players could approach and roleplay the actual act of dungeoneering with strategies and skill uses? Yeah, sure. I've made a video about the Underdark ecologies and stuff. But yeah, it's probably a good idea to talk about like practical considerations. Like, for instance, I saw a bit of artwork recently that looked really reasonable, but the ranger female character had bare legs. Like, she had shoes on, but she had like bare shins and knees and stuff. Anyone who has hiked or traveled through the wilderness, not on set paths and stuff, will tell you that leaving your lower legs exposed like that is stupid, because there's nettles and thorns and twigs and, you know, ticks and all sorts of stuff that will just mess up your lower legs, particularly in New Zealand, which has got very dense undergrowth in the forests. Like, it's not like European forests here. Yeah. We look at like English forests and things like that and go like, where's all the undergrowth? It's like, it's all just trees and like a few little plants here and there. It's like tidy, manicured looking forest. Ours, man, you need to wear like a full-on PVC like rain suit to get through there without getting your skin ripped off. The New Zealand bush is very dense because the native shrubs here had to deal with these giant birds, and the giant birds would eat all of the foliage, and so the tree's only defense was to grow lots and lots of dense twigs and small leaves, so that it was just more effort for the bird to peck at them, and the tree had more leaves denser in and beyond the twigs that the bird couldn't get to. So the New Zealand bush, as a result, is very, very dense with all these very twiggy plants that if you try and walk through them, you'll just, it's like trying to run a comb through dreadlocks. It's just very difficult. Often those plants are also very toxic, and they cause skin irritations and things like that. That's one thing that people don't often talk about in New Zealand. A lot of the native plants here are inedible and toxic. Humans have not lived here apart from the last 1700 years. So yeah, and there were no mammals. There was just like a bat and a rat, I think. No, not even the rat. Rat arrived with people too. Yeah, we had megabirds. Yep. We had the largest terrestrial flightless birds in the world. The Larry Elmore School of Pants, yeah. Hey, Ben, thank you. Ooh, £5. Thank you. Is there an update to Ed Greenwood's Forgotten Realms book he was working on independently of Wizards of the Coast? He was probably, the Forgotten Realms campaign guide is coming out. And there's going to be, I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of stuff about dragons and the dragon princedoms of Murgome, for instance. That's definitely going to be in there, I think. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see how they handle the Forgotten Realms campaign guide, because they've had 15 years to work on it, right? They should have been working on it all through 5th edition. So let's see. That was a glaring omission. It's like, oh yeah, our default home setting for 5th edition is Forgotten Realms. Great. Where's the campaign book for it? It's like, yeah, that was kind of telling. AJ's Pickett's Delicious in Dungeons cookbook. Not entirely impossible. I did work as a professional short order cook for 14 years, so I can certainly cook. And my sculpting skills allow me to turn, if you gave me some polystyrene, some gelatin, a little bit of food coloring, some spaghetti, or even noodles, and an octopus, or a squid, I can make you a mind flayer head. I can sculpt an actual organic mind flayer head and plonk it on the bench, cut the tentacles off, and show you how to prepare and fry mind flayer calamari. That is a video that I really want to make. It would gross people out, obviously, but literally I've been thinking about Delicious in Dungeons videos for years. I would love to do that, but I just don't have the budget to set up for it, unfortunately. Hey, thanks, Unintelligent Design. Go crack open Skills and Powers and have a look at the diversity of player races. Now compared to the selection in 5e after all these years. Shocking. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had diversity since Savage Species, for instance, where you could play monstrous species. And, yeah, Savage Species, not Savage Races. They've been using species for years. That wasn't an innovation. That was just public hype. Yeah, we've been using the word species for years. We haven't been using the word race all the time. Savage Species? Yeah, that was from the 80s or 90s. This is the thing, 5th edition players. You've been lied to about old edition players. We're not anti-anything. We only really care about it, etc. Yeah, do it! I would have to basically remodel my garage into a studio, which I'm planning on doing. Yeah, templates are great. Don't get me wrong. I love templates. They're good. If you wanted to make a generic thing, templates was the way to go, right? So if you wanted to make a, you don't need to put a specific human guard. You can just put a guard template and then apply that to any species that you want. Because they're probably a beholder guard, right? Or a beholder, accountant, or a sage, or beholder wizard, who knows? Fried chicken golem. Sassy, AJ, just curious, what made you decide to start doing YouTube? Was there a moment something inspired you to start, or did you just have a goal in mind when starting? Good question. So the reason why I'm also known as the Mighty Glue Stick, or my nickname is the Glue Stick, is because of crafting. So to give you an example, crafting, right? So tabletop crafting, this is just printed out paper glued together. And I am a sculptor. So this is a roper, for instance. Well, this is actually piercer and roper to underdark detectives. This is a donut that he's wearing on his head. This is a piercer and a roper. They're partners. Anyway, one day if I had enough money, I would make an animated series about piercer and roper underdark detectives in the mean streets of Menzo Baranzan. I'd love to do that one day. But unfortunately, I'm just one person, right? I can't do everything that I want to do. So when I started out on YouTube, I was just making videos because I was the moderator of a crafting message board, and we ran competitions. And if you look at my original videos on the channel, they're all crafting and making terrain and stuff. And I innovated and made this print and paste 2.5D technique of making basically cardboard relief dungeon tiles, maps. So they weren't flat. They were a little bit three-dimensional, but you could still see over top of them. Based on DM Scotty McFarlane's, his crafting method of making terrain. But he used painting and texture and like builder's sand and glue and all that sort of stuff to build up things very cheaply from just recycled materials. Like, give me some cardboard and a glue stick and a glue gun, and I can make you anything. You know, I can make something the equivalent of a Dwarven Forge city. It just takes more time. And of course, it's not as durable as Dwarvenite. When you buy Dwarven Forge, you're buying it for life. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's the best RPG terrain you can get. Do you think Mousefolk will ever become an official race? I have to use halfling stats when playing one in my game. There's got to be a 5th edition. There's got to be a 5th edition supplement somewhere that they've got mouse races and stuff in there. I don't think they'll become an official race because we haven't even got dog people yet. And I suggest that furries are actually responsible for that. We got tabaxis. That's about as close as you're going to get, but I think they're shying away from letting actual furries turn up in turn up at Gen Con. It's like, oh no, this is my D&D character. I don't think so. We're on to you, furries. No offense to any furries out there. You know, if you're a good furry, not a bad furry, you know who I'm talking about. Oh, the Humblewood setting. Thank you, Sir William. Yeah. I would love to make a cookbook. That'd be fantastic. Or just like a series of videos. There was a guy who made a series of videos where he had like cooking aliens, which was really funny. And that would definitely be, I was definitely inspired. Like, oh, I can do that. So yeah. So I started making YouTube videos about crafting, and then I was making a roper one day, and I was streaming it, and I was just talking about the lore of ropers, and then people were really interested in me talking about the lore of the monsters that I was sculpting, and then that just turned into me researching and talking about lore. So I sort of started out because I was really fascinated with the Forgotten Realms, and I wanted to be one of those people who just, you know, knew where Mulmaster was on the map. I could just point at the map and go, hey, that's, you know, where's Luskin? There. Where's Waterdeep? There. You know, I wanted to be that familiar with it. And, you know, gradually, slowly but surely, I became an expert in the Forgotten Realms. I've got a map of it right up here, by the way. Who's the bad furry? All of the ones that basically got furry conventions banned from most hotels in America. You can look it up online. You've got a half dozen cat races and so many frog races, so many amphibians in Forgotten Realms. But that's understandable because they're a legacy of a creator race. So that's why we have so many scaly lizard folk type people and so many like frog type people. We should also have a lot more, like, for instance, people say, oh, you know, what about Dragonborn? It's like, dude, do you not know who the Aerie were? They were these dragonoid-looking humanoids that ruled the Forgotten Realms for a while, and then they offended people, and then a civilization from the ethereal realm showed up and wiped them from existence. And also the dragons arrived and wiped them from existence. But they create the reason why they're called the creator race is because they created other intelligent species. And like, where are the species that the Aerie created? I put to you that spell scales and Dragonborn are probably make really good lore examples of exactly where they should come from. So we do have, Dragonborn in the Forgotten Realms because there was a merger between the two, like the Sundering, for instance, and the landscape changed and a part of another world transposed itself into the Forgotten Realms, and it took with it a bunch of Dragonborn who were from a world that was dominated by dragons. And now they're on a world which is now free of the Dragon Rage mythal and is now becoming dominated by dragons again. And this is the era of the Forgotten Realms that the campaign guide is going to be talking about, that dragons are now able to organize and cooperate together and become a force once more, taking over the world. So, yeah, you may run into adventures where you have to save a kingdom from the dragon which rules it, and the populace is not unhappy about being ruled by a dragon. It's their liege lord protector, So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Anybody who's played Dark Sun will understand that vibe, right? So, Forgotten Realms is getting a little bit more Dark Sun. Saurials. Yeah, there you go. Saurials are an interesting species. They're on Chult. There's a population of them there. Does that mean that you have to bring back the Giant Kingdom? There is a Giant Kingdom already in the Forgotten Realms. It's in Pulveria, which is up above the Spine of the World Mountains, right? So most maps of the Forgotten Realms that you find kind of end at the Great Glacier, but there's about that much on the map above that's actually really important. So you can actually travel from Icewind Dale all the way across the top to Karatua, bypassing the Sea of Fallen Stars and the usual passage through the Far East. So you can actually go far north and take a sled dog team and spend about 4 weeks making your way across we actually worked this out, it takes about 5 weeks or so, and you can make your way across the entire continent at the top of the Forgotten Realms, barring incidents with yetis and giants and stuff like that, obviously, and white dragons who would love to chase you and eat you. Yeah, they won't touch Dark Sun. Dark Sun is still ours. Right, it's ours. We should be glad. We should be glad that they haven't adapted 5th edition Dark Sun. Are there any monsters you would never let play as players? That's a good question, Aaron Big. Probably something like a Sorchar, or one of the aberrations, right? Because they've got a very alien mindset. Or something like a Slard. I actually know, because I did let a player play a Slard. Ooh. I think the level adjustment for a Beholder player character would be pretty difficult. And also they're very large. They're like 5 feet across. So they don't they don't really work well in player character parties. But it would be really funny to run an all-monster campaign. Yeah, Slards are cool. Is this known knowledge in the realms? Shockmaster? Which does that mean that we have to bring back the Giant Kingdom? No. So no, it's not general knowledge. Like, for instance, one of the things that 5th edition gets wrong, and a lot of 5th edition players get wrong, and I don't want to say that you're role-playing wrong, but in regards to the specific lore and setting in Forgotten Realms, I think I've got a little bit of authority to say that most people that you meet will have no idea what a dark elf is, or have never heard the word drow aside from, oh, I thought they were a fairy tale. These evil elves that would come up from the underground and steal your children. You know, that's literally all people know of the dark elves. The dark elves do not interact with the surface world. People never meet them. They never see them. So they don't think they're real. You know, and other elves don't talk about them. So, yeah. Ooh, redacted messages. What did you guys say? Oh, thanks, George. George Washington Laser Musket. That's a great title. Oh, yeah, rat folk probably work quite well as a mouse folk player character. They have furry races in 5e D&D 24 edition. Mm-hmm. God, I can't even say the word furry without it stirring up controversy. Is there enough lore to justify a Feydark video? Maybe. Would you like someone to play as a Tarrasque? I can't imagine many scenarios where that would be an interesting role-playing game, can you? I'll destroy the city. Roar! Hey Fred, morning. Yeah, this is pretty much the last day that I get to do stuff online, and after this I've got my uncle is getting married, and I'm his best man, so that's going to be a fun week for me. The Dark Elves are rare, mysterious, and only 5% of every town's population in 5th edition. Yeah, rare, mysterious, and own the dairy down the road from you. Yeah, it doesn't quite work, does it? Crush, Crumble, Chomp, the Tarrasque RPG. Yeah. Well, if anybody's going to make a Tarrasque RPG, it should be Mr. Tarrasque, the guy from Brussels. Get to be transport for the adventure. No, you're the adventure location. Like, the adventure takes place in your circulatory system. You're shrunk down and injected into a dragon. Yeah, Bubs, there actually is a D&D module where you all get to play dragons. Believe it or not. And in Palladium's Rift's setting, you've always been able to play a hatchling dragon as a player character. It's in the main book. I mean, when you look at it, dragons are just not that different from like a gargoyle player character when you think about it. Going inside of a dragon, that was an episode of, I assume that's an anime series I've never seen. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to talk about today. Just sort of, I'd let you know that Free League is producing an Invincible superheroes RPG. And I'm getting ready to do a superheroes RPG Kickstarter myself. So it's going to be interesting. I certainly would like some cross-promotion from Free League if they're in the mood. Once my my RPG does go to Kickstarter, that would be nice. Council of Worms. Thanks, Miss Welch. Will you ever cover Maztica? Probably not. Not at the moment. For obvious reasons. Going inside of a dragon is kind of furry adjacent. Yeah. I keep telling people they've got a cloaca, but nobody listens. I blame that damn sex company. Bad dragon. Plant them seeds. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. I'm going to have a great day. And I'm just about to record some more Dragon Magazine short stories. And I've got more Fiend Folio monsters coming up. And also I'm going to be making some sort of introductions to Superatomic and how it's played and the design principles and stuff as we gear up to the Kickstarter and talking about it. So, but mostly just good solid lore and stuff from me. And if there's always, any topic that you're interested in learning more about, let me know, and I'll probably produce a video about it for you at some point, because that's what I do. I work for you, nobody else. All right, catch you later, everybody.